Sorry, with follow-up with the AI and blockchain coming, is the aspect of human resource in a corporation decreasing in magnitude, and people are depending more on AIs?
So do you mean is AI going to replace certain functions like HR?
HR, finance, management, executive position.
I think no. The short answer is probably no. The debate around AI is quite a heated debate, and people have very different views and perspectives on what AI is and what you can do with AI. I think maybe to start, answering that question is very important. Maybe to start explaining what AI is and what it can do. So when you look at intelligent systems, they have been around for many years. We talk about expert systems, we talk about machine learning, but typically these systems, they don't have any memory. They crunch data and then they provide a solution. Now with the advent of neural networks or deep learning, I should say, now we came into a new stage where basically these systems can learn from history also. But what is important to understand is that these systems today are only able to do what's called narrow AI. And narrow AI means that basically they're able to solve a very specific problem and they're able to solve it very well. So today there is not, at least not any known system that solves general AI in a good way. What that means then is that the systems we use today, they are more for decision support. So what we will see more and more is that people that are in key roles will get better data, better insights, better knowledge on how to strengthen their own decisions, how to make faster decisions, which maybe without having to crunch so much of the data themselves. So the support systems, it will be there. For instance, I can mention one of the startups here in Dubai, Dubai is called Searchy. Have you heard about Searchy? Searchy is a startup working in the HR space, and their actually whole intent or objective is to simplify recruiting. What is happening today, just to explain a bit the types of issues we have. Today, if you apply for a job on any online platform, it goes through an automatic tracking system that searches for keywords, and people know how to gain that. And at the end of the day, what it does, it reduces the number of CVs to review and then still manual process. At the end of the day, you still know very little about the person. Now, by using artificial intelligence, we can, for instance, ask people to do videos. So, record a video and talk about certain things, and the AI systems, the way they are trained, they can detect things. They can detect insecurities. They can detect if you're maybe lying or if you're not really sure about what you're talking about. And this is what Search is doing. They're basically, they've developed systems where they can score certain things and get a much better understanding on who the candidate is. Similarly, if you look at IBM, they have on their Watson platform, they have something called personality insights, where basically by running through an AI system, text that you have written, they can get a pretty good indication on certain of your personality traits. Now, these are some of the things AI can do. What is very important though to understand is AI is complex, and the type of answers that AI feeds you is very much based on how you train the AI system. So it's based on the data, it's based on the algorithms that are being used. And for instance, if I would ask you today, build an AI system, that automatically recognizes shoes. Now I ask you guys, what would you use to train the system?
The shoes we wear, or
exactly, right?
Yeah.
It might be a nice pair of shoes or sports. If as the ladies, maybe they will think about high heels, right? Now the thing is, if you train the system, with your shoes, they will never recognize the high heels as a pair of shoes. And this is part of the problem with AI. It's very easy to introduce bias. So if you don't have good sampling of the data, if you don't have transparency of the algorithm, it's very easy to get biased in the system. This happened a couple of times already. I'm not sure if you're aware of the issues that happened with Google. People were recognized as gorillas. Later on with Microsoft, when the bot became a very bad person because people messed with it in the learning phase.
Yes.
So very important to understand, AI has a lot of potential as a decision support system, but you need to know what you're doing, and it's not this magic box that gives things out by magic. You have to train it, you have to provide the right data and so on.
Input has to be accurate.
Exactly. So I don't see it maybe as such a threat as some people maybe advertise it, but for sure we need to be very cautious. We need to be very cautious because things can go really badly wrong. And I'm going to give you one example of what happened in the US. For instance, there was I'm not sure which state it was, but basically the government allowed the judiciary system to start using artificial intelligence to identify repeat criminals. And the systems, like by accident or by magic, most of the time they identified Afro-American people as likely to be repeat criminals. And I think that is very much related to the bias in the systems, because when independent organizations tested these systems and they put Caucasian white serial killers into the platform, they didn't recognize them as potential repeat criminals. So this is really where AI can go really wrong if you don't know what you're doing. All right?
Okay, so could we say that AI algorithms or programs are better used or will be better used if they're used as human extensions, not as replacements?
I think it's hard to answer that question. I think what we really want to do is to simplify our lives and make our lives better. I think, let's say that is the starting assumption. So in certain cases, you might want to replace humans completely. Just think about a call center. Call center is a typical example. People working in call centers, they're among the population that is the most stressed. They really have a very, very bad life quality because of the pressure they get. And if you can automate their job completely, maybe it's not a bad thing, right? Because being on the phone, stressed, people yelling at you all the time, it's not healthy for us. On the other hand, if you think about a doctor that is doing surgery or somebody else doing a life critical decision, you maybe want to make sure that somebody at the end of the day is accountable for that decision. And today, I think that person has to be a human. It cannot be a system. Once technology evolves and we have general AI, maybe things will be different. But I think today it's really about supporting humans, but also some jobs will disappear. And it doesn't need to be a bad thing, because some jobs maybe are not that good for us as humans. Yeah?
As for in the financial